Welcome back to Shamrock Dawn Reacts, the world's greatest reaction channel on all of YouTube or anywhere ever. Today, I gotta go on. I'm recapping the Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix. And first episode was basically just how he built up this incredible wrestling organization. What they're trying to say he did wrong in the first episode was basically he stole talent from other territories. Back in the days, wrestling was broken off in the territories. He got the company from his father, built it up to this huge show after taking all these wrestlers to WrestleMania 1, the biggest wrestling event ever at the time, which was on closed caption TV. I never knew what that was until now. It's they play it on a projector in a stadium or in a theater somewhere all around the country, and people showed up crazy because it was what a crazy event. Muhammad Ali was there. I mean, insane. And so far, not really much bad has even been said about Vince. So going into this, I thought that because they said Vince tried to buy back the documentary from Netflix and he doesn't want it out, and he tweeted something that it's bad on his image, which I don't know if he thought they were going to try to make him look like a superhero, but they're going to try to villainize him. Didn't really do anything in the first episode. I'm going to recap every episode. First one, definitely just how he built up this super organization, and I don't know, they had Bret Hart say something on there, and you know Bret's always got something bad to say about Vince, so he didn't really say nothing bad. Episode 2, still not that bad for Vince. All it shows is the stuff we already knew about the steroids. We all knew that every wrestler in the 80s was juiced to the gills. We know that steroids was a common thing among sports, definitely amongst sports entertainment, aka wrestling, and it was no secret. Vince was on it, everybody was on it. I mean, it did have a little bit about the Pat Patterson stuff, and then the ring boy stuff I didn't know about, with the sexual harassment with a little ring boy, and then the person that ran the ring boys. Didn't know about that. Some people say Pat Patterson could be weird because, as Tony Atlas says, he tried to touch my pecker. Tony Atlas is very funny in this. Every time he came on, he had something funny to say for me. And besides that, maybe he did cover, because Pat Patterson got fired originally for this and then rehired 6 months later to come back as, director of whatever's going on. And it's kind of weird that Vince and him are like real good best friends, and he kind of brushed this one under the rug. And the steroids, like I said, everybody knew, so I don't think that's too damning. You're not going to bring up something old that everybody knew, that everybody's like, wow. So far, not looking like a villain to me. Looks like he built up this $1 million empire. They show the WrestleManias. Like 3 was incredible with Andre and Hulk, and how the storyline was Andre finally loses, but in reality, and finally gets slammed. But Hulk and Andre had been wrestling hundreds of matches before that, but never televised like that. So it's kind of crazy at the time they can hide storylines like that and then pull out the biggest one ever. And it led up to like 91, 92, 93 with all the steroid stuff. And I think at the end it showed how Hulk Hogan had left WWF, and he even told Vince that he was never going to leave because that was like part of their deal. If I let you go and sign your release, you won't go with the enemy. Literally a couple months later with the enemy, and then testifying in court against him. But that turned out to be the pressure from the CIA on Hogan to be like, we got stuff on you, and if you don't testify against Vince, we're going to go after you. So he did it, but in court he said nothing harming for Vince. He said pretty much, did Vince ever give you steroids? No. Did Vince ever help you take steroids? No. Was he pushing it? No. Like, and all the other wrestlers kind of said the same thing. Like, he knew what was going on. Just walk away. Obviously, he knew what was going on. Everybody on the roster was juiced to the gills, but the fact that they had this doctor from Pennsylvania come in and do all the prescriptions and try to do it illegal sort of way. Episode 3 was called Screwjob because obviously the Montreal Screwjob, and then they showed one that I didn't even know in the late 80s. He had a woman rostered on his championship, and she was not willing to give up the title. And as Vince says, that's not your title, that's my title. And he's not wrong. This is entertainment. He gives you the title because he thinks you should deserve it for what you've done in that moment. He also can take that away and give it to somebody else as fast as he gave it to you. That's just the name of the business. And what I didn't know was after the Montreal Screwjob, so we all seen that one, Vince went into Bret's locker room, and Bret had caught him with a mean uppercut and knocked Vince out cold. With other wrestlers in the locker room, Undertaker was there, Shawn Michaels was there. At one point, Bret looks up to Shawn and goes, "Did you know about this?" And Shawn's like, I swear, I knew nothing. And obviously he did. Him and Triple H knew, but they were sworn by Vince McMahon not to say nothing. Like, actually, they said it was Triple H's idea in it because it came up that Bret was leaving, going to WCW, and he didn't want to relinquish his belt to Shawn. If he did, he wanted to do it with a melee, a bunch of wrestlers come out, and there's a scrum, and nothing happens with the title, and he just vacates it. But they wanted the show to go on, a new real champion, not like a paper champion. And they wanted to give it to Shawn. He was the man at the time. And they just screwed him over. I mean, obviously, put him in the sharpshooter, which when he was doing it, it's funny because Bret was like, "No, you're doing it wrong. Put my other leg over this way." He's trying to help him. And then Bret's looking at the bell person, and Vince is screaming at him, "Ring the fucking bell!" And the announcer's like, "What?" He's like, and he's ring the bell over, and then Bret spits in his face. Seeing how it happened, Bret leaves for WCW, and it showed the start of like the WCW wars. So when Hogan went over there and joined with WCW, also when he testified in court but didn't really testify. And still, episode 3. Still, we're 3 episodes in, and nothing about Vince that we didn't already know, not to continue to watch or endorse his program. And nothing that, I don't know, even seems like he built up this dynasty and he's all about business. He's 100% about business. He doesn't care. Not family first, not friends first, nothing. It's all about whatever he can do to make this business grow. Clearly, because he grew it to a $1 billion organization, which is impressive. I mean, what are we asking for? Like, I don't know. Until I see something that's crazy, I thought I was going to see more at this point, 3 episodes in. Most hit pieces from Netflix as a documentary are pretty damning. And this one, not really. Like, I've seen nothing so far that I didn't already know. We knew about the Screwjob. I didn't know about the 80s one, but still, like he says, it's his title. If you don't want to vacate it, and that one was crazy because, like, it wasn't a 3 count. It wasn't a 1 count. The moment the female got the pin on her, the ref was told to do a fast 3 count. He couldn't even get a 1 count out, and she kicked out, but he still went 1, 2, 3. And, new champion, everybody's surprised. But, nothing. Still nothing. 3 episodes in. Episode 4, and this is basically the Stone Cold era, my favorite era, and it shows the transition from Vince McMahon, the announcer, the businessman, the overall owner of this company that he built, to Mr. McMahon, the character he portrays on WWE, which it's important to know because as much as you try to villainize him, it actually makes him look more human throughout this documentary. I've seen him, say stuff that wasn't great per se, but I've also seen the human side of him where he's like in touch with just what's going on, how his family's feeling, how the world is, and he knew that what he did at the time, Attitude Era, was very wild. Like everybody says it, the stuff that they did, you can't do now. You could never ever pull that stuff off again because it was so over the top. But at the time, it was too hot for TV. Girls Gone Wild. Everything was over the top, insane, jackass. Like everything had to be extra. It seemed like because we came to a time in TV where everything was organized, and then there was like a breakthrough where you could just kind of do whatever you want. And Howard Stern, I mean, all these people did whatever they wanted, and Vince just followed suit. Nothing seemed that outlandish. The bra and panties matches and stuff. And then it goes into depth about the WCW wars. They won 83 weeks in a row on the ratings. Do you know how impressive that is? And then to win 83 weeks in a row and then to never come close to winning again. That flip of a switch, wherever Vince in it, he dropped a promo saying like this is the Attitude Era and I need things to change. We need more excitement. When he said that, it literally hit like a wave. Wrestling changed from this something to every single episode of Raw with somebody getting slammed through a table, lit on fire, sacrificed, pimps and hoes, bras and panties matches. Everything was over the top, and that lasted for probably 10 years until they just couldn't come up with any more over the top scenarios, and they were doing a little too much. So Triple H looks back and says they could never do that again, and he thinks it was, cringy, which it is. The stuff kind of is. But it made for great TV at the time. It was culturally relevant. You got to understand, it wasn't this one-off. It was what everybody else was doing. He was following the path. And the fact that he won the wars with WCW, then just a short time later bought WCW and ECW, and then owned the global franchise of wrestling. So now, you know how we're not supposed to have franchises in this America and in this world, but we do. WWE's 100% a monopoly, and this man is the person that dominates in that field. And he has never, ever taken a loss kindly. So when he came back with a vengeance, and that's when the Mr. McMahon character came out. You've seen the transition. You literally see it from 97. He's an announcer on the sideline. Shawn Michaels is this bad boy, and every time Shawn Michaels comes out, he's irritating Vince, doing stuff, and he sees that the crowd likes it. He's like, the crowd is feeding off of everything that Shawn Michaels is doing. And then when Stone Cold became champion in WrestleMania 14, Mike Tyson there, you bring in Mike Tyson, that's obviously a genius idea, and then Vince just like took that character and exploded it. Every week on Raw, he was in there getting stunned by Stone Cold or splashed with beer. Pat Patterson's getting attacked. So for the fact that he's such a genius to see that Eric Bischoff took this dialogue of bad guy boss and crews and people that go against him in the ring and visually for the cameras and for the audience, he took that idea and he skyrocketed it. So he didn't just make the WCW NWO thing, which was confusing at times. You didn't really know what was going on. So Bischoff's in NWO now and he's out. And when what Vince did was, I'm the bad guy. This guy is the bad guy, but I'm the even more bad guy. You know what I'm saying? So genius stuff. Still nothing. Episode 4 we're in, and nothing that made me like, I don't know. Because I watched the Attitude Era. I'm one of those kids. And that stuff didn't make me a horrible person by watching these cringy moments. It starts off with like the John Cena era goes through, and until now, all the WrestleManias that have happened, and then it goes into more of like the family storyline, all the stuff that he's done with Shane and Stephanie and Linda, and a lot of it's wild. Why would you ever put your family in these scenarios? It's crazy, but we all knew it. So you're still, again, all the stuff that I think is crazy and wild, it's not nothing that I didn't know already. So basically, this is just a documentary for wrestling fans because nothing. It's not a hit piece so far. Even though Vince tried to buy it back from Netflix, and it's not what I think of as a hit piece. Hit piece is put that man away forever, and nothing like that. I mean, there's accusations, there's a bunch of allegations, but nothing that actually can stick and hurt the legacy that he has created. So it goes into, and then some of the stuff with the Linda McMahon and the Trish Stratus having her like passed out and overfeeding her medicine, and then the stuff with the do rag, and he took it too far. He really did. But that's not saying that like he was trying to evolve the business. Unfortunately, when he did that, he kept stepping over the line a bunch. But he did evolve the business, and he did sell it for billions of dollars. And nothing from the documentary came out. There was a girl that claimed he took pictures of her and shared it with Brock, and somebody else had touched. I don't know. So far, nothing has been proven. So until something's like actually proven that I can see, I don't know. There's nothing that really influenced me to not like Vince McMahon. So with the allegations, even with those, and those are horrible. Some of the worst shit you could probably think of. But I don't know if it's somebody looking for a money grab, because he has settled a lot of lawsuits with these. Everybody that he goes into, he settles a lawsuit with. And what's up with the NDA thing? That should be illegal. NDAs should be 100% illegal. So you're telling me there's a contract out there for rich people or business people to be like, whatever happens here stays here. Which sounds good for like, if you work on a movie set, you can't release certain shit, or a TV show. But if the person's doing illegal activities to you, you should be able to talk. You should be able to tell somebody without having to face penalties of millions of dollars. That should be an illegal contract. That should be void and null when it comes out that the person is actually doing illegal things. Like, so sure, you can't talk about the company if I'm not harassing you or doing something horrible. But that whole thing is just crazy to me. And so you can just have people do NDAs. He could pay people off in court. So we're not sure about what has happened to any of these cases, really. None of these cases have ever been solved. It could be all money grabs. Vince McMahon is a very powerful, rich person. It could be actual harassments that he's done. But we don't know true facts. We know that he's admitted to cheating on his wife a bunch. But I don't know if that was people willing and trying to move up in the ranks of the business, and he using his power, which it's a horrible thing, but it does happen in that world. It's not uncommon. The funny thing is, Tony Atlas said in episode 1, he was like, yeah, we all, in the 80s, we all hit our women. I'm like, you should not say that, bro. You should not be admitting. But overall, the documentary does not portray him in that bad of a light that we didn't already know. We already knew some of the bad shit about him. He's only for business. And when you're 100% for business, you're willing to make sacrifices on your family's image. You're willing to make sacrifices on other people. You're willing to just do anything for that business, which it's not great. He's probably not a great person to have known for these 25 years. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. SHAMROCK Don reacts.